Some time ago, you guys may have heard of a Hollywood tragedy that struck in a freak accident unfolding, and that was the shooting of the film Rust, starring and produced by Alec Baldwin. If you're not familiar with all of the details, don't worry because this video will get into it, but this is going to be a good preface video to watch before the release of the documentary, which should be detailing the exact moments leading up to and after the Rust shooting. I can only really imagine how the family of Halyna Hutchins feels, probably a lot of anxiety, hoping that their story and her story is told in the right way, but ultimately this documentary is going to focus on the verdict of Alec Baldwin, who unfortunately was the one holding the gun. So before you watch the documentary, or the recently announced Alec Baldwin and Family reality show, you should probably check out this video. Let's get into it.
The shots that rang out on the set of the film Rust have echoed throughout Hollywood and the film industry at large. What began as a routine day of filming quickly spiraled into a catastrophic event that resulted in the death of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins and the injury of director Joel Souza. The incident has led to significant legal, professional, and emotional repercussions for those involved, especially Alec Baldwin, who was holding the prop gun that discharged the fatal shot. What led to the shooting? What happened in the immediate aftermath? What are the long-term implications for this film's distribution, Baldwin's career, and, well, Hollywood? On the fateful day of October 21st, 2021, the cast and crew of Rust were filming at the Bonanza Creek Ranch in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Alec Baldwin, a seasoned actor and producer, was rehearsing a scene that involved drawing and pointing a revolver. Tragically, the gun discharged a live round, striking Halyna Hutchins in the chest and Joel Souza in the shoulder. Hutchins was airlifted to the University of New Mexico Hospital, where she was pronounced dead, and director Souza was treated for his injuries and later released. Immediate confusion and chaos ensued on the set. Initial reports suggested that Baldwin had been handed a, quote, cold gun, meaning it was not supposed to contain live ammunition. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that there had been a catastrophic lapse in safety protocols. Questions arose about how live ammunition ended up on the set, who was responsible for checking the firearm, and what measures were in place to prevent such an incident. The investigation into the Rust shooting was exhaustive, involving multiple agencies, including the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office, OSHA, and the FBI. The primary focus was to determine how live ammunition found its way onto the set, and to assign responsibility for the negligence. In October of 2022, Alec Baldwin's legal team reached a settlement with the Hutchins family in a wrongful death lawsuit. The terms were settled, including financial compensation and an agreement to continue the production of Rust, with Halyna Hutchins' husband, Matthew Hutchins, joining as executive producer. In January of 2023, Alec Baldwin was charged with involuntary manslaughter. The charge was based on the assertion that as a producer and the person handling the firearm, Baldwin bore significant responsibility for ensuring the weapon's safety. Baldwin maintained that he was unaware that the gun contained live rounds, and that he had relied on the assurances of the film's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, and assistant director Dave Halls, who had declared the gun safe.
It was supposed to be a creative milestone for director Joel Souza.
I think most filmmakers want to make a Western.
Working with Hollywood legend Alec Baldwin on a gritty Western about a boy who accidentally shoots and kills a man. Until one day on set, that plotline collided with real life.
The armorer, Gutierrez-Reed, and assistant director Halls also faced charges of involuntary manslaughter. The armorer, responsible for the weapons on set, was scrutinized for her lack of experience and the alleged lapses in following safety protocols. Assistant Director Halls, who handed Alec Baldwin the gun, was criticized for not adequately checking the weapon before declaring it safe. In March 2023, he took a plea deal that mandated 6 months unsupervised probation. The initial charges against Alec Baldwin were dropped in April 2023, but refiled in January 2024. In April of 2024, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed was found guilty of manslaughter and sentenced to 18 months in prison. In the chilling sentencing, Judge Mary Marlowe Somner told the defendant, "You alone turned a safe weapon into a lethal weapon. But for you, Miss Hutchins would be alive. A husband would have his partner, and a little boy would have his mother." The same judge dismissed the new case against Alec Baldwin in July of 2024, aligning with the defense's claim that the prosecution withheld evidence in an attempt to mischaracterize Alec Baldwin's culpability. And finally and officially, the case was dismissed.
He said he didn't pull the trigger and he didn't know who put a live round in the weapon he fired. The newly released footage also includes his first interview with the police.
I take the gun out, and as it clears, as the barrel clears, I turn and cock the gun over here. I turn and cock the gun goes off.
The Rust shooting sent shockwaves through Hollywood, prompting a re-evaluation of safety protocols on film sets, particularly concerning the use of firearms. Because yeah, seriously, with all of the technology and stuff we have today, why the f*** is anyone using live ammunition to make a silly little movie? I love movies, and I'm sure you do too, but there is no movie worth dying for. Many industry professionals have called for stricter regulations, and of course, the elimination of live ammunition from sets altogether. This tragedy highlighted the importance of rigorous safety measures and the potential consequences of their neglect. The accidental shooting also sparked broader discussions about workplace safety in the film industry. Crew members from various productions shared their experiences of unsafe working conditions, leading to calls for greater protections and support for those working behind the scenes. Because yeah, this is not the first time this has happened. We're all aware of the Twilight Zone accident and of course Brandon Lee, and there are many, many others. The International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees negotiated better working conditions and hours for its members in response to these concerns. The premiere of Rust on November 19th, 2024 was met with a mix of anticipation and controversy. Many were curious to see how the film would be received, given the tragic circumstances surrounding its production. Alec Baldwin was not invited to attend the premiere, with the event instead focusing on director Joel Souza and second cinematographer Bianca Klein. The initial response to the premiere was lukewarm. The underwhelming crowd's biggest response was to the appearance of the victim's name in the credits. Everybody cheered with respect and honor when they saw the words Halyna Hutchins, giving her a final round of applause for the beautiful images she was able to create. And then many audience members left before the Q&A panel.
And I have to say, it was beautifully shot. This is a film festival that's dedicated to cinematography, the lights and darks, the chiaroscuro atmosphere that was created by this film. It was very, very beautifully done, and it really felt like a memorial there to honor this fallen cinematographer.
Critics and audience members alike were overshadowed by the weight of the tragedy, finding it difficult to separate the film from the incident that claimed Hutchins' life. While many praised the film's artistry, especially the personal touches of Halyna's beautiful camera work, such as the way she shows off the landscapes and her amazing silhouette work, and some of the performances from the actors were praised as well. But many others found it challenging to engage with the work without being reminded of the horrible, fatal accident. Even Alec Baldwin's performance was characterized as uneven and inconsistent, which isn't necessarily surprising considering the ordeal likely made it difficult to focus on the work. The distribution prospects for Rust remain unclear. The film's completion and premiere were part of the settlement agreement with the Hutchins family, but the broader release strategy has yet to be solidified. Distributors including The Avenue, which purchased the rights for the film for $2 million before the shooting, are wary of the potential backlash, and ethical considerations involved in profiting from a film associated with such a tragic event. Several factors will influence the film's distribution, including public sentiment. Another consideration is artistic merit. The film's reception at film festivals and by critics would also be crucial. If this film Rust becomes seen as a fitting tribute to Halyna Hutchins, as the director hopes, and is well received, it may find a more welcoming audience. Also at issue are the legal implications. There are still ongoing legal proceedings, and the potential for further litigation could impact the film's release. Any new developments in the case could sway public opinion and influence distributors' decisions.
Well, we'll continue following this one as this is freshly filed, and so we'll see what kind of response we get to Alec Baldwin's lawsuit for malicious prosecution.
Before we continue,
the gun going off on the set of Rust has undoubtedly affected the career of Alec Baldwin. The legal battles and the negative publicity have cast a shadow over his personal life, which was already kind of controversial to begin with. But Baldwin has continued to work in the industry, with many movies in production, but he does face ongoing scrutiny and a potential shift in how he is perceived by his peers and the public. The shooting on the set of Rust is a stark reminder of the potential dangers inherent in film production and the importance of safety protocols. It's an industry like many others that often prioritizes timeliness over thoroughness, beholden to release schedules and budgets, instead of honoring its often underpaid and undervalued artists.
You were in the room when someone was shot?
Holding the gun, yeah.
Okay.
Alec Baldwin is due to stand trial in July, also accused of involuntary manslaughter. He claims he never pulled the trigger, but prosecutors will argue he too did not follow basic safety rules when handling the weapon. Emma Vardy, BBC News, New Mexico.
The tragic loss of Halyna Hutchins has had a lasting impact on the industry, prompting necessary conversations and changes. As Rust navigates its uncertain path to distribution, it serves as a poignant case study in the intersection of art, ethics, and accountability. Beyond the legal proceedings and the industry discussions, the tragedy has had a profound and devastating effect on Halyna Hutchins' family and friends. Their grief, loss, and the challenges they face in the aftermath of the incident should resonate louder and further than anything lining the pockets of millionaire producers. Alec Baldwin and the rest of the Rust production team are now faced with a challenging task of honoring Halyna's legacy, while grappling with the legal and professional fallout from this tragedy.
Sorry. People, they have their dreams. No matter how old you are, you have your dreams of people you want to work with. And this movie made me love making movies again. I really thought we were onto something.
The future of film and the broader implications for Hollywood continue to unfold in the years to come. This thing is not over. The horrible events that transpired have left a mark not only on the lives of those directly involved, but also on the practices and the safety standards of the industry as a whole. This incident has reinforced the necessity for constant vigilance and improvement in safety protocols to ensure that such a tragedy does not happen ever again. The film itself, though covered in controversy, may eventually be seen as a turning point in the industry's approach to on-set safety. For Baldwin and the others involved, the journey ahead will be one of reflection, accountability, and hopefully progress towards a safer future for everybody who likes to make movies.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.